Welcome to the Two Old Guys Stuck in the 80s podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what pairs well with Swanson TV dinners. Is it Fresca? Is it Tab? We're going to be talking about this week's episode of Laverne and Shirley. Wasn't it hilarious, Colt? That all today on Two Guys Stuck in the 80s.
Just a couple of silver spoons.
A couple of silver spoons. No, you don't adjust your YouTube dials. You've tuned into the right place. This is Games Talk Live, and I am here with somebody that doesn't need introduction, but he is the man who hosts the XNC Podcast, and he's wearing one of my shirts. Holy crap. Thank you for representing like that, Colt. Colt Eastwood is in the house. So how is everybody doing out there? Colt, how are you doing?
I'm really good. I love wearing your shirt to like a store and just like strutting around like Games Talk Live, baby.
Yeah, you're like Games Talk Live. Nobody knows what this is, but look,
I can wear an XNC shirt, GTL shirt. Nobody knows what it is, and I'm just representing. But no, it's super awesome. I'm checking out the chat, and of course, they're all familiar faces and people that rock out with us all the time. So,
oh yeah, man. Oh yeah,
I'm really
all
happy
the time.
to be here.
Great people in the chat. We got Big Mad Mo. We've got Ash Tree Gaming, Void Rat, Fox Mulder, who I just met on Twitter earlier today, I think it was. Yeah, I followed him back. Seemed like a cool guy. He was ready for the show, excited for both you and I, Colt. So,
oh, that's nice.
It's nice. Biff Rinaldi's in the chat. Always like that name, Flame. Boba Fett Gaming. Anyways, guys, today we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But Colt, how have you been lately? I know you've been real tired. You've been posting some pics and stuff on Twitter. You're building a pool out there. You're a pool boy now. What's going on,
I mean, we won't church it up. It's an above ground pool. It's nothing super expensive, but the site prep and my labor, and then my neighbor who's been amazing. I've got a 70-year-old neighbor who has more. I don't know how he does it. He's amazing, but it's been so tiring. And since the news for Xbox stuff, they're in their like quiet spell. I've been working on that project outside, and I want to die. It's so crazy. I'm so sunburned, and I come home at night and just fall asleep in front of the TV like an old man.
I bet that's a lot of hard work, and plus in the sun like that, man, it's been hot lately too on the West Coast, so I can only imagine you're burning up out there. I'm surprised you're not.
Something's always weird, right? Like,
yeah,
our April, May, and June, it was like it was still winter. It was still cool. You didn't have any hot weather. Yeah. And I'm like, we got to get on this pool project, and everything else was super busy. We were getting ready to go to LA for Fan Fest. Hargeet Channy's in the chat. So we got to hang out with him. So all this procrastination going on, kind of like Xbox with their studios. But hey, it's good. Dude, before we even get into the show, this fall, you and I were kind of arguing about it. I say it's packed. You're like, well, it depends on what you like. We should talk about that.
We're going to talk about this. I'm going to backpedal on that a bit because when you started name dropping stuff and I started looking at some of these games, I'm like, damn it, Colt's right. Colt is right.
I mean, you and I are going to spend a month on Saints Row. We'll talk about it later in the show.
We'll talk about it for sure.
There is some light at the end of the tunnel.
Real quick. Biff Rinaldi, he says, name a more iconic duo. I'll wait. I assume he's talking about you and me, Colt.
Oh, he's definitely talking
or
about
is he talking about Laverne and Shirley? I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about right now, but that is a pretty iconic duo.
Dude, when I do a TV show, like a sitcom back in the 80s, when we lived together in an apartment and cross-dressed. I don't know. There's something probably crazy we did
or was
back
that
in the day.
Perfect Strangers? What with
Malky Bartakamus.
There were so many. There were so many shows surrounding living together in an apartment somewhere, right?
Yep.
Hargeet Shani, our good friend, always so freaking just amazing to have this guy in the community. He's always so supportive. Colt Hargeet says Ragnarok is coming. You're not kidding. Oh, you mean the game? Hargeet. That's when I expect to hear something from like Gaz just go, what? That's when Gaz chimes in with one of those on your shows, right? Hargeet, this is a family-friendly show.
He's been messy lately. Really. He's been having a good time.
No, I love Colt. He says, hey, add Fonz and Fonz Gaming and Colt Eastwood. Hey, back to you, sir. Fox Mulder with a super chat says, thanks so much for the shout out, guys. Yeah, he doesn't have any content yet, but he's got a channel. He just wants people to know, hey, I have a channel, and one day I will have content, and there will be numbers there. So just you wait. That's always great.
Yeah, we've been there. Yeah, I remember starting my YouTube channel and putting a video up and got 2 views.
Yeah, two views. So
and I think one was my mom and the other one was my mom on her tablet or something.
Oh, really? Okay. So Ashtree Gaming, our good friend, he says, great longtime friends in Fonz and Colt. Always love the show. Yeah, seriously, no doubt. You know, I can't think of an older subscriber that I've had besides Ashtree. He's been around forever for me, man. Like, the guy's been awesome, at least through 2 or 3 of my channels. Yeah, I know.
Ashtree and I were just talking 2 nights ago, and for him it was like after or like right around lunchtime, and for me it was getting close to midnight, or I don't know what the math is, but he's like, it's Thursday in the afternoon or something for me, and I'm like, what? Yeah, because it's crazy the difference between West Coast and Australia. But we've talked quite a bit about games and about where we live and kids and what's going on with the studios and what's cool and what's not cool.
Yeah, that's something you and I have done with the community anyway. We've talked to quite a few people. We've gotten pretty personal with some of these community members and stuff, and we get in party chats all the time and talk about each other, our families and stuff. It's been pretty cool. But Colt, enough chit-chat here. I want to get to, of course, the 5 questions game. You know, we like to play that in these parts. So
love it.
Let's go ahead and get into some 5 questions. All right, Colt.
5 questions.
I don't know why that came up that way, but we will fix it. 5 questions. And of course, this is 4 trivia questions and 1 subjective question.
Oh my gosh,
what are you laughing
never get over this.
What are you laughing at? You're on a game show. This is the 80s. The 80s is back on my show. That's what I like to say.
I love it. Yes.
I love the 80s. So you guys are going to have to deal with it. Let me see if I can pull up my, Okay, so 5 questions, Colt. You know, 4 trivia. I already said it. You guys know the drill, damn it. We're going to go through questions. Oh, and I did bring the ding sound back, people. I got it back. Finally did it.
I can't take you seriously when you're that little host guy over here. Just want to pick you up and put you on my knee.
I want to find that suit and actually wear it for the show. Like, I would wear that. If somebody out there wants to send it to me, you know, go ahead, send it to me. I will wear this on the show. Okay. So, and here's something special. Here's an exclusive. I've got new music for the questions.
Ooh, okay.
So, Colt. Number 1. Here's the first question for you.
Okay.
What fictional land does the Legacy of Kain series take place in?
I don't even know the series. Middle Earth.
Nosgoth.
Oh,
Tell them, people, it's Nosgoth.
Wow, I'm doing great.
All right. Second question. These are all geographical questions, by the way, or the first 2 are, so.
Okay.
Second question. Where does the Shadow of the Tomb Raider mainly take place? Come on. We played it. We hated it.
Yes.
We didn't hate the game, but.
It's. Oh, crap. I'm really bad with it's Incan in the Mayan area, but that would be in South America.
Where did it mainly take place, though? The exact
in
jungles.
Peru?
I will take that.
What is the real answer?
Peruvian jungle. So I will take that.
Yeah, Peru. Okay.
He's right.
Love the game, by the way. But, you know, it's
no, the game was fun, but we hated having to dress up in all those costumes and run around. Like,
I really dislike when she had to wear the really bright green, feathery, weird outfit.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. All right, number 3. All right, we got to shut this down for a second. Colt?
Uh-oh.
Because this one, you have to listen to the audio. I want you to listen to this clip and give me the name of the character that accompanied Link throughout almost the entire game of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Listen to this.
Hello, Link. Hey.
This is easy if you played the game. Didn't play the game, did you?
No. Is it Dobby from Harry Potter?
No, close. It's Navi, the fairy.
God.
So it was close. It was close. Darn, you were that
What
close.
year did that game come out? Ocarina of
Oh,
Time.
it was
About
in the
what year?
90s. It was in the 90s on the N64.
Yeah, I wasn't playing very many
It was a
games back
classic.
then.
It was probably no, I won't say probably. It's my favorite Legend of Zelda title.
It's
period.
one of everyone's favorites. Yeah,
it was an awesome game. So
it was it launched on the wasn't it a Super NES game or was it a GameCube game? Anyway, move on.
I don't know. Let's move on. Okay. Back with the music because number 4, hopefully this one you can answer, Colt. In 1988, what popular publisher and developer made the Wayne Gretzky hockey video game? Very much still around today.
I mean,
Who
EA.
developed
It's
it?
an EA Sports game.
No. It was Bethesda Softworks. Bethesda Softworks developed
What?
Wayne Gretzky Hockey 1 and 2. Yes, isn't that
I've never
crazy?
done this terrible on your 5
No,
questions.
you haven't. But I threw that in there because I was like looking up Bethesda trivia and stuff. I couldn't believe they made Wayne Gretzky Hockey 1 and 2. They made part 2, I think, in 1990. So
Yeah, that sounds like a multiverse thing. That's crazy.
yeah, it really is crazy.
Fox
but-
Mulder says Bethesda made a hockey game.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did. And they made a bunch of games, some obscure games I've never heard of. And I'm like, wow. But again, we're talking about a day and age where most of those games were like on the Amiga, PCs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was a different time, different era. So number 5, of course, this is subjective. What was the better game? This is hard. This is hard, Colt. Prepare yourself.
Okay.
What was the better game? Red Dead Redemption 1 or Red Dead Redemption 2?
That isn't a difficult question for me, and I can give a reason.
It's difficult for me.
I know that you and I
I
talked
know
about
mine.
how it's hard to choose between those two, but something about Red Dead Redemption was just so perfect for me. And I know we love John Marston was just amazing in the first game, and the way that he interacted with Bonnie, and then how he got back with, I don't want to spoil it, but I've actually been thinking about starting it over and playing it again from the beginning and 100%ing it again, because it's just the music's even better in 1.
Yeah, I played through it again when I got the 1X, and I played through it a second time, all the way through, and I loved it. Like it wasn't like the first time. Don't get me wrong.
But
those musical, those little musical, the music that comes up in certain areas. You know which ones I'm talking about. Going into Mexico or whatnot.
The real songs, and then you have like the good and the bad and the ugly type of theme that goes on when you're just out and around.
But I'll disagree
now you guys
with you on
know
one
that,
thing.
that Rockstar could remaster Red Dead Redemption in a year or two work, because they've already rebuilt the entire New Paraiso. They've in New Austin area, but not Mexico, but the whole top half of the map from the first game is already rebuilt in Red Dead Redemption 2. And they already have the character model for John Marston. They could just tweak it. I think in a year or two, they could build a Red Dead Redemption 2 looking remaster. But
I think
that's something else that they've talked about.
True. I think the chat, they're kind of split. Some are saying 1, some are saying 2. I personally put 2 just above 1, but there is no wrong answer here, Colt. You got it right.
Right.
Because Red Dead 1 or Red Dead 2, I'm going to take it because both games are phenomenal. And the only disagreement, well, it's not even a disagreement. I will say that Red Dead 1 had the better music overall. I agree with that. But even 2's is pretty darn good. Like, I
what you forget is that, like, I don't know what you call it, like that really trendy cover shooting from Red Dead Redemption in 2010 is really reliable. And I feel like sometimes in Red Dead 2, when you're shooting, I don't feel like I have full control over Arthur. So there is something great about that, like barrel into cover, come out and shoot, and
Yeah.
get back down. It's really snappy. It's a little easier to use, but they're both great games. I'd love to see them remastered, but Rockstar said they want to finish GTA 6 first. So
somebody said Red Dead Revolver was their favorite of the three. And a lot of people don't know that Red Dead Revolver was the first of the games that started Red Dead Redemption and all that. But I played it. I liked it, but it definitely didn't meet 1 and 2's just epicness. It's not the same.
yeah, it's definitely a 2000 style.
That's something that I wanted to talk to you about as well. Narrative in video games, because that was really the thing that really put us over the moon about Red Dead Redemption 1 was that narrative. John Marston, his story, his family, all that. How important is narrative to you in a video game?
Really important. I'm always looking to see when you get past a mission area or to a chapter to see where the story's going. And there's something about the whole thing with John Marston. So I've played the game twice all the way through. There are certain songs when I hear them on my playlist that I get emotional. I don't have all of that connection to the music to Red Dead 2. Dead Man's Gun is one that will get me choked up when I hear it, and it plays right after the credits roll. So yeah, that's pretty important. And remember, around a couple years before Red Dead Redemption came out in 2010, the consoles and game developers were really kind of hitting on all cylinders where they could get a game that looked incredible, it played incredible, and the cinematics looked incredible. So they all kind of worked together. It all felt seamless, like the in-engine cutscenes, like in Red Dead Redemption, like when he goes up and talks to an NPC and the thing happens, you're looking at the same assets. It's not some pre-recorded video. Yeah. So this is like the pinnacle, and I wonder how long it's going to go on and where we're going from here.
I would say that, for me, narrative in gaming is very important. As I get older, I tend to want to play more games that are more story-based, focused heavily on story, because I need that sort of connection. I actually want an emotional connection to my video games now, more often than not. And that's not to say that I can't play a game like Ninja Turtles or something and have a blast with it, but I don't get that same connection to the game. I can't get tied up with the game and really, I don't go to work and think about a game like Ninja Turtles and go, man, I can't wait to get home to play that game, because I need to find out what Shredder's doing next. I don't get that kind of a connection.
What's the last game you played, Fonz, that you were emotionally invested in the story and the narrative going through?
Man, Ghost of Tsushima, probably. Ghost of Tsushima. And a lot of people will say that it was kind of a weak story. I disagree. There was some moments and there's some storylines in there that are pretty cool. I like the whole emotional connection between him and his dad and what took place and all that stuff. Patrick Gallagher did a phenomenal job. I interviewed him here on my channel on the show.
He's fantastic here.
And it was really cool. And to talk to somebody who played one of the greatest villains of all time. When you have a really good villain in the game, that makes me emotionally connected to the game as well, because I hate you in the game and I want to kill you in the game. You know what I'm saying? Same thing that happened with Voss in Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 was just amazing to me, and he made that game. That villain was just
chat,
amazing.
let us know, because I'm trying to think back, because Fonz is talking about Ghost of Tsushima that both of us really liked, but that was 3 years ago.
Well, I did play it last year. Remember, earlier.
Oh,
yeah. I played the DLC.
Expanded content. Yeah.
Yep. And it was
cool. Far Cry 6 didn't really do that, but there were some good moments in it, but your crew is so dorky sometimes.
Yeah, Boba Fett Gaming says something pretty cool in the chat. He says, I found myself thinking about Elden Ring a lot, so much at work, but not for the narrative. I agree with that. That is one, usually that can happen in an RPG, even if I'm not tied with the narrative. RPGs can do that to me as well, because if I can make a build that's really strong and powerful and go in the game and just destroy stuff and have hours and hours of fun, I get connected with those games as well. But more times than not, that really doesn't happen with me much. It's rare that I get really sucked into an RPG these days. It has to be really special. Somebody said
Like
It
Mass
Takes
Effect
Two,
trilogy.
which has a fantastic
yes.
narrative.
Yes, Rick Payne.
Rick Payne.
It Takes Two.
Yes.
I sat here and played that with my 10-year-old son, and we seriously just bonded several times over playing the game, feeling like we were in the world working together. Even though that game is about, making a bonding with your significant other, but really fantastic, really fantastic.
What about games that make you feel like they have a narrative to it, but they make you like, for instance, with Destiny, it was Grimoire cards. You had to read it offline, or the thing I can't stand sometimes is where narrative is mostly told through audio logs. Only
a couple games get that right. Only BioShock really gets that right. There's a couple of games that do it, that the audio logs are so great.
Yeah.
I thought of my last narrative, a thing that affected me that people make fun of. I could tell you. And I know you'll probably make fun of me, but there were moments in, this is crazy. Please don't hit me. There were moments in Halo Infinite where I got connected with the pilot and how he was separated from his wife and kid. And then I'm sure everyone here
you can relate to
I'll
that.
just keep this general. But middle of the game, he levels with Master Chief and said, I'm not the man I should be, or I'll just say that. He's just like, I'm kind of living a lie. And he has this emotional moment. And then toward the end, there's a really good, happy moment as you end the game. And I was like, oh man, that was, kind of like, just like, I haven't had that in a little while. Right.
Yeah.
But it was like in a Halo game. It was a Halo game.
I can kind of see that because you can relate as a family man and everything. I get that.
And the pilot was,
things,
he was
if you're listening out there and you're like in your 20s, you might not feel the same emotional connection until later on in life. And I'm not saying you can't now, but I know when I was in my 20s, I didn't sit there and get emotional over some, even some commercials sometimes. And I'm like, wow, I see a kid and I'm like, interacting with their father or whatever. I'm like, wow, that's tough. But, it's just, you get that way. You just get that way as you get older. I've got LA Chargers fan. He says, Cyberpunk for me and Resident Evil Village. I guess that's what he was connected to on a narrative level. And he's right. Cyberpunk is one of those games that you and I played and loved. We enjoyed it so much, despite some of the bugs, despite what people were really like coming down hard about it. We really had a great time with that game. We had a great time.
Come on. I mean, I only had a couple times where I had to reload a save and some stuff looked wonky here and there, or maybe too often, but when you put it on a scale, right? You and I were playing a game and then there was bugs and then there was enjoyment. And then the enjoyment would just continually outweigh any of the stuff that people complain about.
We talk about that all the time. Fun factor. You always have to put that above everything else. Was the game fun? Period. That's what we're there for, right? And that's why, first of all, I want to say, Hargeet Chunny, thank you for the $2 super chat. And he's also giving out a code for Xbox, for Red Dead Redemption Global here for Xbox. So whoever picked that up, enjoy it. Amazing game. I was going to say, one game that you and I played that Rick Payne mentioned here in the chat was The Last of Us 2. He said it was an emotional roller coaster. It was, but I have to say that you and I both felt like that game was just depressing the whole way through.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to smile about in that game at all.
No,
Just
you weren't
depressing.
meant to. You weren't meant to enjoy. Neil Druckmann and his team they said before the game release that they wanted you to feel a certain way. Yeah. And so for me personally, I had this cloud of everyone is going to get brutally murdered in a personal way, and I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. And toward the end, there's a lot of action, but the whole theme of revenge is the saying that everyone says, dig two graves. I just felt like that the whole time, and that's not an enjoy. It's one of those things where I would play for 3 hours at a time. I played The Last of Us 2, and then I would in for that session and go in and just like sit with my family, and I wouldn't even say anything to them. I just kind of, in my mind, I'm like, I'm so glad that we're all safe and none of us are making horrible decisions where one of us is going to get brutally, get our throat slit. That's how I felt with The Last of Us. Maybe that makes me a wimp, though.
No, I hear you. It's, again, we're not going to get into The Last of Us 2, but to me, there was no real payoff in the end. It was no satisfaction. It was just depressing. And I don't like to feel that way when I play a game. Hargeet Shani again with the super chat and the Red Dead Redemption 2 Xbox global code. Enjoyed that one immensely as well. Man, he's just dropping codes. Look at this. Another one for Forza Horizon 5 Premium. Get it, guys. Man, he's just dropping them codes. Thank you very much, Hargeet. Yeah, all these guys are trying to fight for these codes now. Damn it, it's mine. But yeah, The whole thing with the narrative through the audio logs, I was going to bring it up because it's funny how sometimes developers will just throw in something silly in there in some of the audio logs sometimes that you're like, what did I just listen to? You know, stuff like,
it's day 67, and Norma keeps eating all the cake. I don't know why she's eating all the cake. I feel like when the last piece gets passed around, there won't be any left for me.
And then you like walk away from it going, what was that about? Like, it's silly stuff like that they do sometimes. And it just kind of spoils the whole audio log experience anyway, because I don't know. I just don't care for audio logs too much. But you know how it is.
I'm trying to think. There's a couple of games we played recently that relied on reading stuff or
that can get even more tedious.
Well, I mean, that was my problem with Horizon Zero Dawn, but
Horizon Zero Dawn was just a lot of just talking over and over.
And then you had those digital like holographic logs that you had to watch, and you had to kind of use your imagination when they know how to make amazing stuff. But
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah,
it's the question I always ask: where games, like I said in the very beginning of the show, where are games going to go next? Like we've reached the pinnacle peak of games look amazing, they feel amazing behind the controls, and then the cinematics they all match together. And are gamers going to just become numb to that and say, you know, that doesn't impress me? What do you got? What are you going to do next? I always wonder what the next big trend is.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you what's new, though. There's some new news out there. We can get past this little chat here. A new studio technical design director has been named at 343 Industries, Colt. Paul Bartone, an ex-Bungie employee who has worked on previous Halo games in the past. We're talking Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, ODST. And he's been the lead mission designer for those games. And he's back. Colt, how much do you know about Paul, and do you think this return will make a difference there at 343?
I haven't looked into him, but some people are asking why didn't Bonnie Ross announce this? But Joe Staten was the one that sent this tweet out, a picture of both of them who've worked together.
Yep.
And what you're seeing there is, I know we all have our worries or concerns about 343, but what you're seeing is Joe Staten and this Bungie developer that's worked with Joe for a long time. So this person has a lot of experience with Destiny doing well and the golden days of Halo. So the very first thing I thought was, man, they're hiring more people, but this is a step in the right direction.
Yep.
343 has a lot of contractors, and it's one of the major problems they're dealing with right now that it seems most other studios don't have this problem, but it's been out front that they have a lot of contractors. They're only allowed to be there for 18 months. And this is a permanent person coming to the team, right?
Yeah. This should be a permanent person. Again, he's worked with Joseph Staten in the past on all those games. And we know the games that I mentioned had all great level design. So that's a plus. I think the overall thing we could take away from this, because none of us really know if this is really going to, right the ship, so to speak, there at 343 and everything wrong they've done with the launch of Infinite. But I think the one thing we can take away here is, on a positive note, is that Joseph Staten seems to really want to right the ship, really want to get this right. And he's bringing in good talent that he knows personally can do very well on the game. And that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would give the reins to Joseph Staten. He's a talent for sure. He's like the big relief pitcher they brought in on the mound to make those things right.
Yeah.
When Joseph Staten talks 343, I hope you're listening, and it sounds like they are. He's made big changes, and
you know, and I hate to beat a dead horse, you know, talking about 343 and really say anything too negative anymore, because I've said a lot in the past, and I do think that they have issues at the top level. I think management, there's management issues, but I think Joseph Staten coming aboard was a great thing, and now I think that Paul Bertone is a great thing as well. Let's just hope they do better, guys. I mean, that's all we can do at this point. I don't want to see the Halo franchise die. I love Halo. You know, Halo's been part of my gaming history, you know, ever since I bought the OG Xbox. I loved Halo. So,
well, I mean, Halo Infinite won't die. This is the low.
But I don't want to see Halo just be kind of like pushed aside, so to speak. Like, that was their bread and butter franchise back in the day. It's no longer that. Now it's Forza. Let's face it. That's their king franchise. I want to see it rise to the top again. I really do. I want to see it to be that pinnacle of shooters yet again. I think it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
Another thing that has come out, Colt, is that Crystal Dynamics was celebrating their 30th anniversary, and this logo, this one right here that I'm putting up on the screen, was shown, and it seems to show, you know, the shadows of Tomb Raider, Gex, and Raziel from Legacy of Kain. I know you said that you weren't too familiar with Legacy of Kain.
No, I've never played it. I don't know anything about it.
Crazy. Yeah. But anyways, it shows.
I know everybody loves it.
Yeah, it shows, you know, these others. And do you remember Gex?
Whiplash-inducing power.
You remember this?
Precise traction, excellent suspension.
Shields up, Captain.
Advanced digital sound.
Floor on the floor, baby.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah.
Gex. I had that on the Panasonic 3DO. I mean, it was a silly little platformer. It was fun for its time. But a lot of people are like saying, yeah, I wish they would, you know, redo a Gex game or make a new Gex game. Of course, Tomb Raider, we know they'll have another Tomb Raider. So that's not without question. But the most exciting part for me
already in the works
was showing Raziel. Raziel there, of course, Raziel being of Legacy of Kain. I cannot believe you've never played these games, Colt.
Well, when did that series come out?
Well, oh yeah, that's right. You took a hiatus for a while. This, of course, was early on. It was during the time I want to say early. They had games late 90s,
I'm looking
early
at
2000s.
It looks like late 90s. It looks like
early 2000s,
64.
late 90s, early 2000s. They had the series. It started with Blood Omen, and it went on from there. Went to Soul Reaver on the Dreamcast. So, yeah, it was the late 90s for sure, because the Dreamcast had Soul Reaver. I had a blast with these games. The narrative on these games is what was so freaking amazing, dude. Not necessarily the voice acting. It was okay for its time, but really this could have been so much better with better voice acting. But that narrative was just
that wasn't something that they were that was happening back then, though, Fonz.
It really wasn't.
Like,
and that's why I think it was ahead of its time too, because again, people still covet this game because of its narrative, and they still talk about it because of it. And it was incredible. And I'd love to see them remake these games, because just look at it. It looks like it, you know, it's dated, of course. I mean, it's real dated, but I was really excited about this.
4-to-3 aspect ratio.
Yeah. But chat, did you guys play Legacy of Kain? Let me know in the chat. I loved those games. They were so good. And of course, in other news, Colt, in a not so surprising turn of events, Forspoken was delayed. And and I say this because honestly, the last time Square Enix showed it off, it didn't look that hot to me. That it looked like it needed some polish. And that's what they're saying, you know, that they need some polish on this game. And matter of fact, they said, as a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we have made the strategic decision to move the launch date of Forspoken to January 24th, 2023. All game elements are now complete, and the development is in its final polishing phase. You can read the rest, but basically, that's what they're saying. They want to polish it up. And do you think that's the main key? Do you think they needed to polish it, or do you think they're moving it because they do say strategic, right? Do you think they're moving it because we've got a crowded fall schedule with some big games?
Well, that doesn't surprise me from Square Enix because, I mean, like any company, you need to be very mindful of how your money is going to flow in, and if it's a crowded time when your game could get overshadowed, even by God of War Ragnarok. There's actually a lot of big games that we're going to talk about later on the show that might be more highly sold than Forspoken. The other day, I was watching YouTube on my phone, as I do, and I got an ad for like this mobile game called like Spirit of a Sire or something. And it was literally the first pre-cut trailer of Forspoken. And they were using their footage, and they had at the bottom like Spirit of Azire, play for free on mobile. And I called my son over. I'm like, look at this. He goes, yeah, they do the same thing with Minecraft. These little mobile games will just steal a trailer from an existing game and try to get you to download their app. But a lot of people have been making fun of how Forspoken looks.
I'm putting up some gameplay now on the screen for people to see. And this is what I saw the last time when they showed some gameplay. And look, I guess it looks fine, but it looks like it needs work. Like it needs some.
Okay,
something.
Let me say something that people always say to try to make me mad when I talk about a game I'm excited about on Xbox Series X, right? They say, that looks like a 360 game. I mean, this literally does look like a last generation or earlier
last generation
style game not
early
the
last
visuals
gen, right?
Probably look way better.
Yeah.
At higher quality, but I don't know.
It looks like early last gen to me. That's a great description. It does. And
kind of reminds me of it looks like when we first saw Final Fantasy 15, also looks a little bit like a different camera angle of a Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't know.
Yeah, and watching the gameplay and just the way she moves and stuff, sometimes when she interacts with some of the walls and stuff, it just, I don't know. It doesn't look as fluid as it could be. I just think it needs some polish and stuff. And you know what? The game might not even be for me altogether. Who knows? Like,
no, maybe not. It
might not. But it just on the visual aspect, it just doesn't look that great. It surely doesn't look as good as some other PS5 titles. That's for sure.
No. And I mean, I even saw a lot of PlayStation fans say that the last showing was rough. So,
Flame.
I mean, it's a win-win to say, let's get out of the shadow of the big fall holiday releases. Mm-hmm. Let's give ourselves more time to polish the game, and we'll have a better chance of selling more copies in that opening month. That's so important. Because if the game sells really well, the word of mouth will go around and more people buy the game. Like, a game could die really quickly.
Yeah. And Flame, he has a super chat here that says, Forspoken looks like Final Fantasy, what is that, 10?
10, yeah.
Is
or
15. 15, sorry. I can't even read Roman numerals now. Yeah, 15, because it's the same devs. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, it's Square Enix. What am I talking about?
And that was the rumor before we got to see gameplay of Forspoken. I think Randall Thor heard things that it was basically going to be like a spiritual successor.
Yeah, it just doesn't look that great. But yeah that is being delayed, guys. So if you were looking forward to that game, sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And this next topic I want to bring up here, I just want to tell everybody you can all thank me now. Okay, for sending in those pics to get the release date for God of War. We got them. Yeah, Colt, I know. Who knew something so small can generate such excitement, right? But,
Fonz!
I'm telling you, God of War, it worked. November 9th. That's the release date, okay?
Hey, let me ask you something. I didn't talk about this long on my show last week, but so was it just one person that did this, or there been multiple complaints of people sending threatening or lewd pictures to get the release date? Because when this news first broke to me, I took it as they were complaining about multiple harassment.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Somebody's like, it
wasn't?
was just one guy.
Oh, it was me.
I don't know.
I know. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I apologize, but I won't do it again. Oh, no, I can't say that because I want to know the release dates for these games. Xbox, I'm coming for you next. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it did work. They got results in 1 week.
It's weird, but you know what's sad? I feel like this is going to become a trend for future games as well. I think you're going to see just some idiots out there doing this every time.
Well, when you have a female developer say, stop sending me pics like this is not going to work. And then a week later, they give the release date. And then all that international news buzz. People are so dumb. They just walk off a cliff together. There they go.
Yeah. Speaking of walking off a cliff, you got Kratos on the screen jumping off a cliff. I'm telling you, look, I cannot wait for this game, Colt. I love the first one a lot. The reason why I say that this it'll be a contender for Game of the Year, no doubt. I wholeheartedly believe that. But I feel like it's not going to dethrone Elden Ring at this point. I think Elden Ring is going to take it just because the fact that Elden Ring was a departure from what they were doing with the Soul series. And they just mastered the way they created that game, the open space and the way they did their open world and stuff. It was just great. It was just so amazing. With Ragnarok, you're basically getting the same game. We're getting more of God of War, which isn't a terrible thing at all. Don't think I'm saying that. I want that, but it's just not going to have that same wow factor that it did when we first played 2018 God of War and was like, wow, this is such a departure from the earlier God of War games.
It's a whole new game.
Yeah, we're not going to feel
But
that.
you can't, on the other side of the coin, Fonz, you can't say that Elden Ring felt like a whole new game. It really was a Souls game with the geography opened up, with the landscape opened up where you could just kind of come and go as you please. So some mechanics had to be changed. We're also hearing that where Ragnarok is doing things that they say are going to blow our minds. So we're seeing a little bit of new mechanics, and of course they gave themselves an extra 2 years, so maybe they really invented some new ways to experience the game. I don't know.
Well,
it definitely will be nominated up at the top.
I'm going to say something stupid.
What is Game of the Year so far, Fonz?
Elden Ring. I think
God of War Ragnarok.
It surely won't
Horizon
be Saints
Forbidden
Row,
West.
but I'll have a lot of fun with Saints Row, but it won't be Game of the Year.
No.
But no, with Ragnarok though, I was going to say, they might add something to it. I'm like, please don't let it be a grapple hook, please, because every game it's like, okay, let's add a grapple hook. Halo did it.
Well,
great.
what was that clip that you were showing that he had like 2 grapple hooks where he grabbed onto that troll? I'm scrubbing back
his
on
chains,
your live
though.
feed.
That's his chains.
Was that the chains doing
blades.
that?
Yeah. I believe it was. But
I'm gonna watch it again.
Regardless, the grapple hook thing was great in Halo Infinite, but not so great in Horizon. What is it? Horizon Boring West.
Horizon Forbidden West grapple was ridiculous.
It was Horizon Boring West. That was the name of it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I felt that game was boring.
You and I both bought that game day one, and
I was looking
3
forward
hours
to playing
into it,
it.
4 hours.
I just too much blabbing, too much talking in that game.
I hate it when I waste money.
Yeah, I know. I've tried to go back to it several times. I can't get through it. But the grapple hook just wasn't very good the way it was used in that game. It's just like only in certain places, and it's
only really short distance.
Yeah, with Halo
But
Infinite, it's like you could use it wherever you wanted to. That was the cool thing about it. Like you could just use it everywhere. And I used it as a mode of travel. I just, would swing between trees. I was like Spider-Man instead of Master Chief. I was Master Spider-Man. So had a blast with that. Hargeet Shani says, would you consider Halo as a Game of the Year nominee? Yeah, I guess.
That's a tough one.
What else are you gonna throw in there?
The campaign was really good.
It was good.
And I know people are mad about the ending or how it didn't explain what was coming, or you didn't get to see what the big payoff or what was coming. But remember that moment when you come down the hill after that, one of those big fortresses, and there's two brute captains that are hanging out by the wreckage of the Pillar Bottom, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
That freaking, oh my gosh. It took me like 25 minutes because I was playing it on Legendary. It took me like Legendary or Heroic, I can't remember, but it took me like 25 minutes just to finish that fight properly without dying over and over and over. And like, I would just go all around that valley.
Yeah.
And there's really great encounters, and Eshram was a great villain. He was actually surprisingly a really great villain.
Just we don't even have to really go too deep into the discussion, because I will say wholeheartedly, yes, I think it should be nominated. You know why?
Well, what else
because
would go
when
in
this
there,
came
Fonz?
out, well, let's talk about Halo Infinite just on its merits. When it first came out, not only did it get a lot of critics raving about it, but it had all of us raving about it. So I don't, hindsight is 20/20, and sometimes we try to like look back and throw shade on games if they didn't like pan out in other areas. Like, oh well, it didn't bring out co-op mode. That's terrible. They didn't meet their deadline for co-op mode, and so we have a lot of negative connotation going towards Halo Infinite. When in fact, when it first came out and we played through that whole campaign, most of us loved it. So yeah, I think it should be in contention. Why not? I don't think it'll win.
I guess it could get nominated. What did Spider-Man get in 2018? It got like an 86 or an 85.
Yeah,
maybe it was an 87.
Maybe.
And Halo Infinite got an 86. So it was just like a couple points, or 1 or 2 points under Spider-Man. Spider-Man got nominated. And they don't go by Metacritic, but people, you have to think of, at least there was all these people that reviewed the game that thought it was a 9. I mean, most people thought that Halo Infinite was a 9 without co-op. And I'm so mad that they didn't delay until all that was right. So
you know what? I don't agree with this guy, Jarrett Bishop. I know you're not being offensive here at all. I don't take it that way. But he says, no offense, Fonz and Colt. I think y'all got caught up in the hype. No, I didn't get caught up in the hype.
The game's like a year old now.
And not
there's
only
no
that,
more hype anymore.
Well, not only, I think even in the beginning, he's probably alluding to, but even in the beginning, I was against 343, and I was against
you and I weren't hyped about Halo. We were very cautious.
I was very critical.
And I previewed the game. I had a preview. I had a preview build of the game, and then we got early access to play the entire game. I did, and Dealer and Randall Thor, we played the game before it came out in its entirety. And then I turned around and played it again when it launched so I could get the achievements. So there's no hype level. I did a full preview, and like a 12-minute preview and a 15-minute review of the game. Like there's no hype. I did enjoy quite a bit of it. There were things that it missed
about it. There's things that miss.
It's not a 10.
But the game was solid. I gave it, I think, an 8.5, I believe, or it might have even been closer to maybe I said 9.
I think I gave it a 9.
Sure.
I can't remember.
But I loved the game. I thought it was very good. Was it perfect? No, but it was very fun. That is the ultimate goal for my gaming experiences. Fun. Did I have fun in the game?
Yeah.
Yes, I had fun. Had lots of fun playing that.
And there's a critic or a reviewer or a YouTuber or somebody in a comment section or whatever will say, I think the game's a 9, and then someone else will say, I think it's a 5. You shouldn't push your 5 on someone's score. Just I always say, look at Metacritic, look at your favorite reviewer, and then talk to your friend and see where you usually line up. And if you usually agree with those people, then use that person and that reviewer that you usually line up with. Take them at their decision if you should buy a game day one. But if you didn't love a game and you don't give it the same score as someone else, that's just like, oh well, I guess.
Yeah, and if somebody in the chat like Jarrett, if he personally hated the game, I don't like disagree with you. I can't really. Well, I can disagree with you, but I can't say you're wrong because that's your opinion, man. Like, it's good. Like, we can have our own opinions. I just feel like I thought that game was so solid that. I'm looking forward. I'm looking ahead to what's about to drop this year. And I'm not seeing too many, I would say, can go on a list of Game of the Year contenders. I can't see that many.
Yeah.
I just
wanted
wanted
them
Callisto Protocol is one that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, we had this
looks amazing.
conversation the other night, and I said, well, it's pretty packed this fall. And you're like,
I was
I don't
like,
know.
nope.
I'm not interested in a lot of those games. And then I started to think about when I
No,
said
that-
things like
Yeah.
Hogwarts. I'm like, yeah, Fonz is not excited
Yeah,
about
I'm not.
Hogwarts. What was the other one I said? Gotham Knights. And I
Gotham
know
Knights.
you
I'm
aren't
not.
excited about that. And I'm like, oh, Callisto Protocol. Because
Yeah.
there's actually a bunch of games like High on Life may be a really good surprise hit. Looks hilarious.
Yeah, and I looked it up and I remembered that game from the showcase, and I said, yeah, that was one of the ones I said that I would play. So there is quite a bit coming out this fall. Hargeet, again, our good friend Hargeet Chani, thank you very much. He says, and let's keep in mind that Co-op/Forge will likely be out by the time Game of the Year nominees will be considered. But is it too late, Colt? Do you think that's too little too late, Co-op being so late and Forge being so late?
Definitely. I've said that many times. Co-op coming at the end of August or whenever it is in August, that's far too long.
Yeah.
No, it should have been there at launch.
It should have been in there.
Why
Yeah.
now? And that's why, like Gaz, my co-host and from Game On Daily, we're like, I would have rather waited. I got so much flack for this, but I don't want to linger on the Halo conversation much longer than this. But if the game came out this fall with Forge and with co-op and with that extra 2 years of polish, we wouldn't be having these problems with 343. And 343 doesn't need to be paid in November of 2020, but the Xbox platform wanted that game at launch, and they had to wait a year, and they rushed it out. Even with the delay, they rushed it out. And next topic. Thanks for checking out Games Talk Live. If you guys are having a good time, we got 125
hit the
people.
like button if you will, guys.
Hit it.
Please hit it. It helps out the channel. Please. Thank you for the 3 dislikes as well, folks. I'm sorry it didn't live up to your expectations. Yeah, I can see dislikes and likes. Dreadpool with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. He says, little late, but don't forget Amy Hennig was the writer for Legacy of Kain, Defiance, Soul Reaver, and the Soul Reaver 2. We've been asking for more. Yes, Amy Hennig is a fantastic writer.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That she was like the mastermind behind the great Uncharted.
Yep.
The first The Last of Us, right? She was one of the big writers. And she came,
why do you think The
did that
Last of
Crystal
Us went
stuff,
like this when it went to 2? Amy Hennig wasn't there.
Yeah.
You had Neil Druckmann writing the whole thing, and, you know, he just screwed the pooch on that one. But anyway, that's my opinion.
It's another 80s term that you don't hear often.
Yeah, really. But no, Colt, there is one more game coming out this year, November 8th, the day before God of War, and I think this one is going to be the contender for Elden Ring, and that, of course, is, wait for it, Skull and Bones. It looks amazing, guys. Just look at it in all of its glory.
Hold on, I got to see this.
Look at this. So basically, you get to ride a boat. You get to ride another boat. You get to ride several boats. You get to plunder. You get to pillage. You get to walk around cities. You get to survive.
Oh, gosh, Ron, stop it.
What is this game about? Like, I don't understand this. And why is he walking with a limp? Why is he walking like that? Like,
because he is about to get his peg leg installed, bro. It's over there in the lathe.
I don't get this game. I don't understand it.
Oh my gosh, it is your typical online Ubisoft. The visuals look cool.
The visuals aren't bad, no.
You get the Black Flag / Odyssey boat combat that you can't stand from Odyssey. You get,
thank you, Void Rat,
a little bit of that Sea of Thieves thing going on, of course. But
he says skull and boring. That's what it looks like to me.
Now this live stream went up when I was working and I was in a meeting. I was on sitting here at an online, or whatever you call it, a Teams meeting, and I had the tab open. I was kind of checking out, so I couldn't hear it. I was just kind of keeping an eye on it. and without any sound, kind of like we're seeing now, it just doesn't land too nice. But
Oh, that
there's
explosion
people got to
was
be
bad.
excited, right?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about it in the chat? I know Void Rat says Skull and boring. I feel the same. I didn't like Black Flag much either. I hated that game. As far as Assassin's Creed games, that was the worst in my opinion.
the main character was really great. He was easy to connect to, and
it's the boating
the
for
way
me.
you-
I'm not a fan of having to boat everywhere like that and just like constantly
Really?
be on a boat. It's just it's
Yeah.
not for me. That's why I don't like Sea of Thieves either.
yeah, well,
No, Colt, I don't like it.
I'll
Just
tell you
don't.
what. This
What's-
game will have.
Hold on. I can't turn this off. What the hell? It's not shutting down.
Hit the like button if you
Oh
want
my
Fonz
God.
to talk like this the whole show.
I can't shut this down. This is bad.
Okay, can you just
Oh,
talk
yeah.
really
Oh,
super
okay.
low so you'll sound no?
Hello.
Sound normal?
Hey, welcome to Games Talk.
Lower. Like, welcome to games.
What the hell is that? Oh my God. I don't mean to be doing this, guys. I'm sorry. What the?
Hello. Okay,
It's back to normal now.
we're back to normal. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was horrible.
For any of you
Horrible.
who are checking this out at the 1 hour mark,
No.
Fonz completely loses control of his show.
I got a new mixer and it is like it's got bugs, I guess, because I've had trouble with it once already, but I never had that happen. So
That's
somebody
pretty funny.
said,
I thought you were
Boba
kidding
said-
around for a second there.
No, I wasn't kidding. Boba said, "Is Gaz here?" Because yeah, that's something Gaz would probably do the whole show, right? He'd
Or
probably
actually,
get on your show.
you
and-
sounded just like Gaz naturally when you were pitched up.
That's
what
what
it
he's
was.
getting. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was I saying? Oh, that this game will last for a few months, and I think it'll die off. It won't be like it won't run for 3-4 years like Sea of Thieves, but I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
just don't know what this game is about. Like to me, like when I look at this game, I just see, I do see Black Flag. I see a lot of that, but
Are you playing it again? Okay.
yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
playing. I fast forward a bit, and it's showing some boat combat and stuff. You guys can see that on the screen, and it just
It's a hard,
man.
it's a hard purchase to make in early November when there are bigger games
Yeah,
coming out.
Why is it coming out the day before God of War? Like you're just killing this game off.
I mean, and it's also probably coming out very close to that Harry Potter game. If that's going to make it 2022, it's going to be close to Gotham Knights, right? I don't remember what the release date. I actually haven't been looking forward more than a month right now. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know. They think it's going to have a tough time, and this has been delayed for a couple years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this game much. Not at all. I'm not going to be picking it up. I'm not going to be playing.
I know
if it was
that
in Game
Ubisoft-
Pass, I don't think I would even touch it. I
think Ubisoft wanted to have this out in like 2020, and they purposely delayed it to get everything right instead of rushing these service games out. And they said this is something they wanted to change within their company. So I expect Skull and Bones to come out to be polished or mostly polished and be a full experience to what it should be. But I just don't know if it's going to be something that people are going to enjoy and want to jump on for $60 or $70 right away.
I don't think they will.
But what about
I
that
don't know.
Gollum
But
game?
honestly,
You probably don't have this on here, but we should shoehorn in Gollum really quickly.
Gollum.
That Gollum
Oh,
game was shown.
You know what? I
the next
almost
day.
got footage for that to show on the screen. I wish I would have, because it looks like a 360 game. Like literally, it just looks terrible.
I wanted that to like be a special something,
Me too.
but it does look rough.
Me too. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. Okay, I don't know if you are, Cole,
Oh, yeah.
but
Oh,
I
big
like
time,
the
big
yeah.
time.
I like the movies and stuff and the books. But Gollum was like we saw that like a year or so ago, or maybe even longer, and it looked rough. And I was thinking to myself, maybe this is like an alpha. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it'll get better. And then when they showed it again recently, I was like, wow, that looks exactly the same as when we saw it a year or so ago.
Well, you know what it has going for it, possibly, and I've only briefly
The
watched
name?
the trailer. I've got it up on my screen right
Lord
now.
of the Rings, Gollum, you know.
It reminds me that it will sort of play like Plague's Tale, which might be its saving grace. You're meant to hide, and you're meant to like just pot shot enemies or distract them. So, sorry, I've got it right down here. I'm kind of keeping an eye on while I talk. It doesn't look incredibly amazing, but what if, people review this and say, you really feel like you're, following the footsteps of Gollum, and that like what he went through, you understand why he went through what he did, to get his ring back. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just looks, like a 360 game. I hate to say that because I hate when people say that.
Yeah. It does look janky, man. It really does.
It doesn't
no
have
other way to put it.
I'll say this. It doesn't have an art style that lends to it looking a certain way. It just, some of the, I don't know, the polygons that look,
It looks
I don't
bad,
know.
Colt. Just say it. It looks bad.
It just, I hate to say that because these people are creating these games and trying to put their best foot forward. But
I was just testing to see if that turned off because, it's supposed to turn off. When I hit the button and then hit it again, it's supposed to turn off. That freaking chipmunk thing was just weird.
That was a moment we will never forget.
Weird. Anyway,
Day 65 of embarrassment. I keep getting sent dick pics by Colt, and I can't look away. I don't know why.
Audio logs, right? Audio logs.
Yep, audio logs.
Anyways, that is the show. I'll end it on that, guys. Colt, thank you for coming on as usual. It's always a pleasure, man. You're always amazing when you come on. I always have such a good time with you because we have a good rapport. We're friends. It shows. We talk a lot. So, tell everybody out there where they can find you, of course, even though all these guys know where you're at, but tell them anyway.
Yeah, well, I haven't said anything, but tomorrow I'm doing my show at 3 p.m. Pacific time instead of 5. So for any of you who've checked out the XNC podcast, it will be running 2 hours earlier because I've got the Hypercharge developer on. I booked him a week ago, and then you guys had him on RDX.
Yes.
Like 2 days later, and then Xbox Era had him on. But yeah, that's going to be pretty neat. So Gaz and I are going to talk to him about his game, but mostly talk about what's going on and where we're heading and how it looks from the industry on his side of where Xbox is sitting with their studios and where the fall lineup is coming and all that stuff. So we're going to kind of approach the interview that way and get a little insight about him working with Xbox to get their game on the platform. So
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, you can check me out on the channel. I haven't made a lot of content because, the news has been kind of goofy lately, right? We got through the E3 season and there wasn't a lot of big stuff.
No.
And then there was a lot of bad news out there, a lot of political crap, and then some of the stuff in the industry,
And
a lot
that's
of
stuff that we really don't like to really talk on. It's not fun. Yeah. Again, that's why I like having you on because, I know when Colt comes on, we're going to have fun. I know that. It's always going to be that way.
I should say,
are you
I can get two birds stoned at once with this comment.
You could get two birds stoned at once.
Yeah, that's a Rickyism from Trailer Park Boys.
No,
get two birds stoned at once.
Great show.
I can kill two birds with one stone. I did a video last week about this supposed Xbox handheld.
Yeah,
and it is the worst viewed video on my channel in like 5 or 6 years, which is really bad.
Yeah,
but I learned one thing. 90% or 95% of this community does not give a flying crap about an Xbox handheld or Xbox going handheld or having a handheld device to play their games.
I don't.
Especially with my audience, 90 to 95% of my audience does not want to take their games on a little 7-inch LCD or OLED screen on the go. They want to sit in front of the big TV they bought. They watch movies. They want to be in front of a nice big monitor or a big TV. And they want to sit on the couch and they want to have the full experience.
We're in a day and age of like 4K and even 8K, and you're going to tell somebody, these gamers, your 4K, games that you're getting played on
Nintendo
a
Switch
little tiny screen. That's not what we want.
Nintendo Switch is the most popular console. It is obliterating the PS4 and PS5. Still, and it's old tech, right? And then the Steam Deck is super hot. And when people start talking about an Xbox mobile device or an Xbox handheld, you hear this crowd of people get really excited. And I really realized in this amazing community, most people don't give a flying crap. And Xbox is not going to invest R&D and money and time into developing a handheld console when you can get a Razer Kishi on your phone. Yeah. So anyway, that's where it sits.
Real quick, I want to ask you, are you changing the time to 3 p.m. for good, or is it just for tomorrow?
No. Just for tomorrow, because it'll be 1 a.m. to like time, 3 a.m. for the hypercharged developer in UK. And I said, hey, man, I'll do the show earlier so you don't have to stay up late. Then 2 days later, dealer's like, we got him on at 1 a.m. I was like, oh, my dealer.
Poor Gaz. Gaz is like,
I've got to stay awake longer. What?
Okay, now it turned
I know.
off. See, that's how it's
poor
supposed to
be. I text him every day on the day after my show.
Sorry, guys. Like, that's my Gaz button. That's for me to sound like Gaz, okay? Because I love Gaz and I love his voice. So I had to put it on the machine. Hargeet Shani, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. He says some of Lord of the Ring Gollum looks 360. Some looks really impressive. Which parts? He says he wonders if they ran out of time to polish it. Does anything look impressive to you? I watched it and I don't think anything really jumped out at me.
Hold on, who is the developer again?
I forgot.
Let me look, because I mean that makes that is a yeah. Gosh darn it! I can't see it because
who?
Diadalic Entertainment, and I think that's who the team is. I don't know who they are, and they're probably a smaller studio, and graphics are not everything. And I haven't watched enough of it. Maybe the animations, how he moves are great. It may be a surprise cool game. So
we'll see.
That's why I don't like to sit here and say it looks like a 360 game, because it doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah, it's like, well, we both played, again, going back to Cyberpunk 2077. You said it looked like a last gen game, the mechanics and stuff. It was a design of a last gen game as well, but still loved it. Yep.
And I don't know how to tell people that. It's hard to say that over and over. It feels like an early Xbox One, PS4 era game, Cyberpunk, but it's freaking really great.
Yeah.
And some of those types of tropes are really fun and really good. Oh, well.
Thank you, Fox Mulder, for the super chat, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you for coming today and watching us live, or you listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Everywhere there's streaming podcasts, you can pretty much find Games Talk Live. So I appreciate you. Colt, again, you told the people that you're going to be doing XNC 3 p.m. tomorrow for your special guest, the Hypercharged developer. Guys, go listen to it. Go watch it. It's going to be a fun show. And until next time, folks, until next week, game on. All right.